Thank you, Kitty, and thank all of you for taking the time from your busy schedule to be here. I want to recognize again the sacrifices that our educators and coaches that make on behalf of public education, which is so near and dear to me. You know, it has been my distinct honor and privilege to have the opportunity and privilege to serve with Delegate Jim Dillard. He was chairman of the House Education Committee, and I was chairman of the Senate Education Committee. We were able to accomplish some great things together. And through this partnership that we had, a bipartisan partnership, we were able to fund public education to the greatest degree ever in the history of the Commonwealth of Virginia. And working along with the Democratic governor, Mark Warner, at the time, and later Democratic governor, Tim Kaine, we were able to fund education in a tremendous fashion to reward teachers for their hard-earned efforts and to set a standard nationally that basically has put Virginia's public education near the top of any of the systems in America. I stand right here by my school, my elementary school, named for Charlotte D. Hart, the Charlotte D. Hart Virginia Avenue School. And I received more than my share of detention hall hours here. And as a matter of fact, if you went through the records here, you'd probably find I probably got more detention hall hours than just about anybody that went through those halls. And I reflect often on the incredible human being that Charlotte D. Hart was. She was a role model for all ages. And you know, through my life, the greatest role models in my life have been my teachers and coaches. And so it is indeed an honor to be here to support Creigh Deeds. I served with Creigh Deeds for 16 years and watched him as a legislator, first in the House of Delegates and then in the Senate of Virginia. I saw him make the tough call. And when we had to make the tough call and go up on that board to fund public education and a very hotly contested piece of legislation led by Governor Warner, you know who was there? Creigh Deeds was there. You know who was on the other side? Bob McDonnell was on the other side. And I must say, when I read these, see these television commercials that talk about how he can have a first-class education system and yet have the audacity to talk about raiding the general fund for purposes other than public education or higher education, make no mistake, that is a huge mistake. And this is where the rubber meets the road. Judge a person when you go into that ballot box by what their voting record is, not what they say they're going to do, but what they have done. What is the voting record? Now, you know, I've also seen a lot of commercials about transportation. Now, I also want to mention to you the greatest impediment in the 16 years that I served in the Senate to any transportation improvements was Bob McDonnell. Not one time did he ever step forward and author a transportation bill. Not one time did he step forward with any funding measures. Recently, he's come across with the idea that you've read about and heard about, and that's the selling of our ABC stores. Now, the last state to try this was the state of Ohio. And the state of Ohio ultimately couldn't sell them, but what they did do, they privatized. And they saved $21 million, which is just fine. But they also cost the taxpayers $9 million in unemployment benefits for the ABC store employees that they laid off. There's not one state in the union, not one, where you can show me a $500 million saving. Now, I've noticed, I don't know whether you members of the Fourth Estate have noticed this, but you notice how those commercials have been changed here in the last week or so? No longer does it mention the $500 million. Let me tell you why it doesn't. Because there is no $500 million. Now, you know, there's an old saying, first time shame on you, second time shame on me. Now, the worst vote that I ever cast, and believe me, I cast a few bad votes, make no mistake about it, but the worst vote that I ever cast was the car tax vote. Authored, and Jim may have voted for that bill too. But Jim Gilmore, another governor, with one of these phony money, scam type pieces of legislation, said, trust me, this is a good piece of legislation. Turned out to be a lousy piece of legislation because we're still paying for that fiasco, which caused us to come within an eyelash, ladies and gentlemen, of losing our AAA bond rating. Do you know what state in the Union has maintained the AAA bond rating longer than any other state in the Union? You're standing in it right now, the Commonwealth of Virginia. But this is about responsible leadership. And that's the kind of man Creigh Deeds is. No, he's not some eloquent, fancy public speaker. But what you see is what you get. He's the real deal. He has a commitment to public education. One candidate is for charter schools, Bob McDonnell. The other's opposed to charter schools. And every time they tried to have allow charter schools in any of the communities in Virginia, you know how many communities have stepped up with charter schools? Not a one. You want to know why? Because they were very happy with the public education system in Virginia. Now, vouchers. One candidate is for vouchers, Bob McDonnell. The other candidate is opposed to vouchers. It's a free country. If you're for vouchers, fine. But you need to know the difference. So when one candidate tells you he's pro-public education, then he can't be pro-public education and be for vouchers. The fact of the matter is, the proof is in the pudding. We are all a creature of our experiences in life and the votes that we cast. And we know Bob McDonnell's votes, and we know Creigh Deeds' votes. We have a golden opportunity here to elect a man who I believe will be the greatest pro-public education governor in our lifetime, in Creigh Deeds. We also have an opportunity to elect a governor who will fix the transportation problem in Virginia. Make no mistake about it, ladies and gentlemen. Nobody ever lived that built roads without money. Roads cost money. It is impossible. And when you read these cockamamie ideas and these pie-in-the-sky ideas about how to fix roads without money, there is no way on the face of this earth to fix these roads without money. One guy will make the tough call and do that because we have to do it if we're to remain competitive in this great country of ours, to secure industry and new companies coming to Virginia. We have to do this. This is something we have to do, and it's about leadership. So this is a historic election in Virginia. And I know all of you read about the polls. And I will remind you that a president a long time ago by the name of Harry S. Truman was in worse shape today than Creigh Deeds is in terms of the polls. It was 8, and then it was 7, and then it was 6, and then it was 5, and then it was 4, and then it was 3, and then it was 2, and then it was 1, and then it was a dead heat. That's the way this baby's going to wind up. This is going to be a dead heat. We have a great opportunity to elect Creigh Deeds, but every single vote counts, and it's important that we energize Virginians to know the true voting record. I am not alone in the Republican Party in supporting Creigh Deeds. John Chichester, the former president pro tem of the Senate, chairman of the Senate Finance Committee, supports Creigh Deeds. Penny Rhodes, chairman of the Board of Trustees at Virginia Commonwealth University, one of the most distinguished House of Delegates members, supports Creigh Deeds. Marty Williams, the former chairman of the Senate Transportation Committee, supports Creigh Deeds. So I'm not alone at all in supporting this fine man, this decent man, this humble man, and a son of the Valley. We stand in the Shenandoah Valley. It's high time that we have another governor from the Shenandoah Valley. Thank you very much.